All right, we're outside right now, WEMF, in a big field. Windy as hell, but oh well, we'll get used to it. Mark Oliver, originally from Scotland, came to the Canadian DJing scene in 1987. Mark is known as one of the pioneers of Canadian electronic dance movement in the rave scene. He has held weekly residency at Canada's Super Club, The Government, for 8 years, and is considered by many to be way underrated in the international scene. Mark, why is this? Do you think you don't get the credit you deserve, or do you get the credit you deserve?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. On a global scene, it seems like, you know, the top 100 in DJ Magazine, for instance, is dominated by European DJs. Even American DJs don't really make the list very often. So I think it's just it says something about Canada in general, that, you know, maybe we're not taken as seriously on an international level as some other countries. But that trickles down from even the pop artists. So I don't really think in terms of recognition, or I'm in it for a passion for the music, and if I end up on a cover of a magazine, I'll just take that in stride. But, you know, I don't base my whole being around the media spotlight, if you will.
In that set, you've been DJing at the Government for 8 years. You missed, 4 weekends in that total time?
Actually, I just missed one a couple of weeks ago, so five.
So five out of 8 years, not bad. Do you have any plans to travel in the future? That's one of the things a lot of people have said. You're stuck in Toronto. Any plans to travel?
Well, I'm not stuck. It's just the offers I get in other places, they're not necessarily even half as good as the Government. So for me to leave the Government, it would have to be somewhere that's at least as good or close to the Government, and a lot of times that just isn't the case. So I'd rather stick somewhere where I'm comfortable. I'm guaranteed my crowd's there, and even when I leave, you know, for one of the 5 weeks in 8 years, it's like people they base their whole lives around it, you know, some of the hardcore. So yeah, I have a responsibility to them too. But yeah, I love to travel, and I do get away whenever I can. I've been playing across Canada quite a bit, and in the States as well. So I mean, whenever the time's right, I usually take off.
Now, you've been known to DJ for 8 or 9 hour sets on Spin Saturdays. What drives you to stay behind the deck so long?
Well, for one, the sound at Government, it doesn't put fatigue on your ears as a lot of other clubs do. So it's a very comfortable booth. The sound's awesome. And I just love playing music. I could play, you know, a lot of times when we close at 7 in the morning, I could play easily till noon and still keep up that energy. I just love the music. I have lots of music to play and that I want to play, and I don't really think about time while I'm playing. I mean, I try and pace myself a bit so I don't burn out, you know, after 3 hours, but you know, eat some power bars and Red Bulls always help. So
as you said, the Government's one of the places you don't want to leave home because it's so strong, for the reasons earlier. And as a result, international DJs come through and they love it. What has been your best night, your favorite night, and with whom?
There have been so many. There were a couple of times with Sasha that were, I thought, incredible nights. There was one in particular with Paul Van Dyke. It was our last year, actually, our 7th anniversary weekend, and I think the night before I played with Armin. And that whole weekend was just a magical experience. And on the Sunday night with Paul Van Dyke in particular in Cool House, I played before and after him, and I'd just come off a tour out west with him, so we were really kind of gelling together in terms of our sound, and it was just a rocking party from start to finish.
You're one of the few Canadian DJs that makes DJing a full-time job. What do you think of that in the current market, and is it viable for others to step up in the ranks and do so?
Well, I mean, I find it tough still today after 17 years. So I wouldn't really recommend it. I would always stress that, you know, young DJs have something to back up, even if, you know, they're big for a year or something. Like, you never know how things are going to change, and lately attendance has been a little bit lower than in years past, and there's so many DJs. I mean, the market's crowded on a business level. But if I were 18 right now and thinking about DJing, I really would look at it more as a hobby, because it's really tough to break through unless you have your own productions. And
on that note, productions. Many say production is the way to make a name for yourself, as you just said, and DJing comes afterwards. Are you looking into getting into production?
Yeah, I always love being in the studio. The tough thing is trying to separate the DJ schedule and the studio work. It's a lot of times I'll be working on a track for a day, and then I'll have to go in a club the next day or the next couple of days, and when I go back to the track, it's sounding a lot different, or it's, I really need I think a month off just to focus on some production. But as a Canadian DJ, I mean, that's not always an easy thing. I've still got to pay the bills, and but eventually, like slowly but surely, my own studio's coming along, and I'm not in any rush really. Music's always been my life, so I mean, I'm sure 10 years down the road I'll probably be in the studio a lot more than I am in the clubs, and yeah, hopefully I'll always DJ, I think, as long as I'm on this earth, but definitely I'd like to be in the studio a lot more than I am right now.
Now, you said you did want to be a DJ for the rest of your life. Now, if you had a chance to do something else, whether it be in the music scene, production, promotion, management, or something completely different that just tickles your fancy, what would it be?
I've been thinking about that the last couple of weeks. Funny you should ask, but I've always been into photography and film, so I'd like to explore that a bit more when I have more time. Yeah, even writing and photography, I think.
See you at Ryerson running back and forth between classes and gigs. I
can end up back in school, but yeah, I take the odd course here and there at Humber, for Logic and computer programs. So yeah, but as a full-time student, I think I'm a little past that. But you never know.
And finally, any free time, what do you do with it?
Free time? That's a very personal question. Well, I watch football. I play football, soccer. And that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot of free time with my kids, so I spend a lot of time with them whenever I can.
Rangers, Celtic, who?
Celtic. Same old Celtic, always winning.
I play for Rangers, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, this interview's over.
It's over. All right. Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here.
Likewise.